we're here in Phoenix. It's a little warm. We're at Ping, and we've got a special guest. It's really nice when you get a member of the design team. We deal with a lot of engineers. In my way of thinking, when you have somebody in the design team that's actually a player, that's a premium. And we've with Marty Jertson, who just qualified for the PGA Championship again. So we'll be seeing you at Kiowa. Congratulations. But we're going to talk about some of the new products, particularly ANSER irons, which you were heavily involved in. So give us a thumbnail sketch of what you can talk about, knowing that this isn't going to hit our site until we get the AOK, and so you can give us all the inside scoop.
All right, good. Well, thanks for the introduction, and excited to be headed back to the PGA. It's going to be a lot of fun to try to get some redemption. Well, I worked a lot harder on the ANSER irons that I did on my golf game, so everyone can trust that there's been a lot of research, a lot of hard work put into the details of the ANSER iron, and I think that's kind of a good lead-in to talk about what we've done there, is to really cover the details of what we want to do from a trajectory standpoint with those irons. We talked about earlier is the big thing to help golfers score better and play better is, in general, especially the avid player who would be a good candidate for the ANSER irons, is to hit their long and mid irons higher and to hit their short irons progressively on a trajectory that's lower, launching lower with more spin into their short irons. And that's going to help them control their trajectories better, play better out of the rough, play better out of different scoring conditions, hit the ball higher and bring it in softer into long par threes. And so we've done a lot of things in the design to help enable that. Move the CG lower and further back. Well, how do we do that? We made the face a little bit thinner through it. You know, we kind of did always continuously studying how we can save weight from the face so we can get more discretionary weight. So save some weight from the face and some of the different cavities that we have in that iron. That iron has basically 5 different cavities. It has a heel and toe cavity, a top middle cavity, a CTP cavity, and then the hollow cavity that gets covered up from the tungsten weight that creates the sole and the flange. So it's a real complicated iron to manufacture, complicated to design, but we really end up with a lot of fantastic performance that gives you. So we save weight from the face, put a little extra weight in the tungsten weight in the sole, made the sole a little bit wider than the current, the original ANSER iron. Add a little more angle, a little more bounce to the sole to improve the turf interaction, send the ball up a little bit higher. So at the end of the day, what we get is a really nice progressive set design that sends the long irons up higher and the short irons down lower, and really progresses right into what we did with the ANSER wedges, which have the hourglass shape weight, a lot of mass high and right in the middle of the club to move the CG higher, again promoting lower launch, higher spin into those short irons. And we've obviously had fantastic reception with that. And the ANSER irons will really blend into that from a trajectory standpoint. So that's what we've done to kind of improve the trajectory. What you'll see if you look at the back cavity of the iron is we have support bars that go out. In the long irons, they're thin and they go out lower to the heel and toe. That promotes a little bit more face movement. We don't get a lot with this design with how the structure works, but it promotes a little more, saves a little more weight, keeps the mass low. As we progress into the short iron, so if you look at the pitching wedge, the stabilizing bars in the heel and toe get a lot more vertical. They're thicker and wider, so it's more mass kind of in the middle of the club to move the CG higher, stabilize the face. Make it a little bit better if you have those lies in the rough where you're sitting high, hit it high on the face, and you get that one that goes really short. This is going to help get that ball a little bit closer to the hole for you. So we're real excited about it. And then the cosmetics, I think, is the first thing when people do when they go look at a set of clubs in the pro shop is, or your golf shop is, how do they look at a dress? And I think everyone out there is going to be real excited with how these look at a dress. They're extremely clean. We've made the top rail look a little bit thinner, but we've been able to maintain the mass along the top rail to help give some stability to the face. The shapes we've softened a little bit. We've taken a little bit less offset out of the club to kind of give it that kind of player's look. So this iron really lives in size kind of between the S56 and the I-20. And the blade length is closer to the I-20, but the offset is kind of between S56 and I-20. So I think it has a lot of appeal to those golfers out there that really like the I-20 but may want something with just a tiny less offset, but they don't want to go to the S56 because the heel to toe length is a little bit small for their comfort level, or they need a little bit more forgiveness than that. So and a lot of golfers is out there in that category. So there's been a lot of work put into the ANSER iron. There's a lot of details that gone into it, not only from the performance standpoint, the trajectory, the technology, the manufacturing. We precision mill the cavities that make up the heel and toe cavities and the middle cavity are all precision milled, as well as the CTP cavity. That's important, and we talked about with the original ANSER iron, because as your forging dies wear over time, sometimes the parts can get a little bit thicker over time, and then the CGs move. You know, if you're making part number 10,000 versus number 1, you could have some subtle differences in CG. But since we precision mill the face and the cavities in the back, we maintain a consistent CG location from the very first part to the last part that we make, which is just another little detail that we made sure we took care of on this product, because it's certainly a premium product that has the look of it and in a lot of technology and performance.
And one of the things we talked about too was the bounce change.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go into that again a little bit more, because I think that's important for our members and the golfing general public to understand the bounce on a 7-iron or a 3-iron or whatever.
Yeah, I think the big thing is that, you know, we study it, you know, not only on our turf conditions here in Arizona, but we get out and study different turf conditions all around the country and how hard people hit it and their attack angles and how much clubs get into the ground, how to make the club go through the turf correctly in a myriad of different conditions. And one thing that we've learned, especially over the last couple of years, and I know we've talked about our test then design philosophy here that we use at Ping in our product development and engineering department, is to understand the physics of golf. I mean, we really feel that that's our strength at Ping, is that we're the experts. We want to be the experts in what are the physics that drive golf. And one thing we've learned when we looked at high-speed video of impact is that when you hit the ball, you look at the kind of club coming in, you hit the ball goes up. That puts a force on the club, a pretty big force, and the harder you hit it, the bigger the force is. Now, the attack angle is a factor of that, undoubtedly as well, but as the ball goes up, it sends the club down into the ground. And that's why you can't make a practice swing with the same divot as when you hit a shot. You literally can't do it. So there is that force that sends the club down into the ground. And one thing that we've learned is that as we've been able to position the CG more efficiently to get better inertial properties or better ball flight properties, as we move the CG lower, we move the force line of the impact a little bit lower, so we get more energy to the ball. Now that helps distance, launch, and performance, but at the same time it puts a bigger force that sends the club a little harder down into the ground. So we've been adding, and I think some of the golfers out there have noticed that we've added more bounce to the I-20s on paper. Maybe a little bit intimidating. At the end of the day, don't worry about what the number is. If it goes to the ground good, trust me, you just want to use it. But that's one of the things we've had to do, is as we've improved our CG location, that's had an impact on how the clubs have gone through the ground. We've really improved our knowledge around that and been able to enhance our sole designs, our bounce configurations accordingly.
And another thing, you skimmed over it a little bit, but the importance of a little bit of mass at the top of the club head. So while you've softened the top line by radiusing it a little bit, so it doesn't look real thick, you need some of that substance up there at the top of the club, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look at even I2 irons, Zing irons had a lot of mass up in the top rail. Karsten knew what he was doing. He knew the physics of the game back then, and we still put that same physics. Now, granted, we have different design techniques, different manufacturing technologies into our golf clubs today. And what we talked about is that you don't want to make your top rail real thin and remove a lot of mass from up there, because you need that for forgiveness in the top to bottom direction. In irons, especially if you're playing out of different lies, if you hit the ball real high on the face on an iron, it can be devastating in terms of what it does and to how far you hit it. I mean, I think we've all kind of had that lie in the rough that's sitting almost too high or too good, and you make a swing, you're trying to still hit it in the middle of the face, but you kind of miscue, and it's just hard to make yourself feel like you have to thin it to hit it solid, and you hit it high in the face and the ball goes just really, really short. Well, what we've been able to do is, now, with that being said, we don't want to make cosmetically a top rail super thick, because that'll be a detriment to your CG if you make it too big. And as a golfer, we want the club to look appropriate as well for the blade length. So what we've done is we've added a bevel to the trailing edge, so to speak, of that top rail. so that when you look down, your eye still catches the front edge of that bevel. So that's really what, as a golfer, you see in the address position. But there's still a lot of mass down there that you visually don't see, but it's there that helps give you some more forgiveness in the top to bottom inertial standpoint. And that really helps improvement, not only when you hit it high on the face, that actually helps give you more stability when you thin a shot as well. And so it's just one of those little things that we've done from a design optimization standpoint that enhances the look but still maintains the performance.
Super. Well, Marty, we appreciate you taking time out of your quasi-practice time. I know that that's not much, few and far between. We look forward to seeing you at Kiowa, and play well, and keep up the good work here at Ping, okay?
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you very much.
Good to spend time with you, Greg.
Great, thanks.
Okay.